Hello there, and welcome to episode 11 of the Way Back Rehab podcast. Today, we are talking about the appointment gap, which is to say, the gap that most people get lost between when traditional rehab doesn't work. Okay, now let's just set it out clear. The space that I work in, I don't want to come across that at every opportunity I am bashing traditional rehab and physios and chiropractors and saying that my way of, coaching people in a bit more hands-on, one-to-one way is the only way of doing things. I'm not saying that. I know that traditional rehab has worked for, countless millions of people across the world. Okay. What I try to do is just do something a little bit different to help people that aren't served by these traditional ways of doing things. So the appointment gap, in my eyes, refers to this idea that traditional rehab, like the actual structure, like the business model, like how the client meets the practitioner, there is a system in place where someone will go in, they will get assessed, they may sort of get a diagnosis of what is wrong, what could be wrong, they'll be given exercises, they go away to do those exercises, and in many cases, okay, so like with your standard in-person practitioner, you may have to wait like another week or 2 weeks to then see that person again, okay, potentially even longer. And the key thing is that in between, it's in many cases not part of the service that you can text that person and ask them for adjustments. You can't say, oh, this exercise didn't feel good, my pain levels were quite high. Could I, could I or should I do something different? You can't send them a video of how you're executing the movement to make sure that you're doing it well, that you're getting the most from it. You may not know how to modify your other parts of your training around your rehab drills. Okay, now most practitioners will preemptively try to answer some of those things, but it's not always going to be a foolproof process. Okay, and essentially the appointment gap means that a lot of people get very good assessment, they get good exercises, but when life happens, when circumstances arise, and they need things to pivot or adapt quickly, because pain is dynamic and ever changing day to day, they have to wait till their next appointment to address it. And this sort of lag, this sort of physical lag where people are they're always behind their pain almost in terms of the interventions that they're making, can be really, really frustrating. I would say this isn't so much the case with things like, like a sprained ankle, let's say, or more acute injuries like a hamstring, where the rehab process, a strained hamstring, to be clear, where the rehab process is a little bit more simple. It's very clear what the issue is, and it's very clear what the solutions are. I'm speaking more about the type of clients that I work with where pain has been ongoing, it's been lingering. These things like chronic back pain, maybe chronic groin or hip pain, sort of issues that are there in the background and are debilitating people slowly. Okay, those are the problems where that sort of more delicate, nuanced and precise approach to rehab essentially falls short. Okay, not for everyone, but for a lot of people. So what I do and what I'm trying to develop is a system of rehab coaching. Okay, so when I coach you, I am with you there in the proverbial trenches day to day to ensure that you don't slip through the gaps. That if something is wrong, you text me. If you're going to get video feedback on exercises, you're going to get reassessed on certain movements. You're going to be given education and empowerment around pain. Okay, all of the gray area in between, you're going to be guided through. And traditional rehab, I feel, doesn't guide people through the gray. Traditional rehab is really excellent at giving people a path to walk and showing them where to go on a map. What my coaching is trying to do is actually try to help them walk that map. I'm with them walking the map, as opposed to them having to walk that map alone, because a lot of people have to walk the route on the map alone, and that's where they fall down. It's not that they weren't doing the right things. It's that they don't have the guidance and support and accountability and structure. And that's a sort of two-way street. I think a lot of people assume that, okay, if I just get assessed and if I just get the right exercises, then I just do the exercises and the pain will go away. Honestly, that is like, maybe it's important, but it's probably about 30-35% of a rehab plan. You also have education around pain, you have load management, you have adaptation to the plan, you have lifestyle stress. All of those things accumulate. And there are so many gaps where people can fall down. And the average trainee or patient doesn't really know how many of those gaps that traditional rehab is missing. Okay, so by all means, if you feel it works for you and you've had success with it in the past, good coaches and practitioners out there that can help you, and you haven't fallen through those gaps before, then go for it. But if you are spinning your wheels, running into the same injury issues again and again, it's probably because you're falling and failing in those appointment gaps, and you need a more hands-on, day-to-day and detailed approach. Okay, so thank you for that. We are now at episode 11 of the Way Back Rehab podcast. Hit all those positive buttons to appease the algorithm. Odds, comment, like, subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you all for the next episode.